Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I don't have a reading today. Today I'm just going to talk about dealing with difficult people. I do these videos that are non-food. I've been doing them more and more. I'm happy that some people seem to enjoy them. And like the one I did, I got to thinking about this after I did one a couple of videos ago, learn how to respond, not to react. And just different things like that on dealing with people. And I get feedback, I get comments, positive comments. And I just realized I kind of need to make a full disclosure for people that are not like regular watchers, or people that haven't been following for all that long, that may not know my particular story. And I should say, that I don't really have to deal with this. So a lot of the stuff is stuff I read, a lot of stuff that I'm talking about also with dealing with people online, reacting online and things like that. Truth be told, I've lived in a very isolated situation for the past 6 years, and I couldn't even really tell you the last time that I was in a life situation where I had to deal with people. So I'm fairly grateful for that I don't have to. I haven't been in any situations where I just am put in that situation where there's no choice but to deal with a very unpleasant or difficult person. So I realize when I talk about some of this stuff that there are people out there that probably are going to struggle with it more than me, just simply because it's a little bit more real for them. And I do even realize that a lot of the things that I say are kind of from, there's no emotion involved when I'm talking about it. And when there is emotion involved, or when it's somebody having to deal with a real difficult situation, I don't necessarily have personal knowledge on that. The best I can do is just kind of give the best general advice I can. As far as online, and I would just say this is a legitimate strategy with people in your day-to-day life. And I know it's tough. But when you got these difficult people, especially people, but not just them, that actually might even push your buttons, it's just very important not to engage, not to respond to them, and definitely not getting into this relationship. I know people that have their whole relationship is back and forth, arguing all the time because it's futile. I'm a big fan of, is it William James? I should be. I haven't read any pragmatism since I was in college, but pragmatism always made like a lot of sense to me. It is what it is. And the biggest thing, the reason I'm always talking about like not arguing with people, not engaging with people that are just, difficult, trying to get a rise out of you, is because, especially in this day and age, how many arguments do you see? How many arguments that you have that somebody wins? And if somebody sort of does win the argument by having the facts, is there hurt feelings on the other side, or is the other side acknowledging that one side won? I would say that is about as rare as, I don't know, just rare that anybody ever has an argument with people where one person just like throws up their hands and says, you know what, you were absolutely right and I was wrong. So this back and forth, it just creates a lot of aggravation, a lot of stress, a lot of bad will. And you owe it to yourself not to live like that. So I would say strategy number one is just, and don't let your ego get involved. Like a lot of times we all want to have the last word. We all want to be right. But if you can a lot of situations can be handled just by not engaging with that person, not arguing with that person. And I have done that before with certain people, and you start seeing a look on their face, like when it starts dawning on them, like, okay, this is a waste of time, because it's almost like beating up on somebody that's not fighting back with you. It takes two people to argue. When you over and over and over don't respond to a person, don't engage with that person, don't argue, you take away a good bit of their power, no matter what their relationship is to you, because they start getting that idea like, okay, there's nothing I can really do here. I can push this person's buttons. I can say whatever I want to. I can do whatever I want to, and they're not going to give it back to me in kind. I would say this though, I'm always about trying to keep things as pleasant, as non confrontational as possible, but there's always a time for conflict, and there's definitely a time to stand up for yourself. I think too many people are doormats, and they're doormats for what they think is a legitimate reason. And that legitimate reason tends to be special people in life. Well, that's my mother, that's my daughter, that's my brother, that's my such and such in law, that's my this, that's my that. And, it may be harsh, but you are not obligated to take abuse from anybody. You are not obligated to spend time with anybody that treats you less than you feel like you should be treated. And I don't give a damn if that's your mother, and I don't give a damn if that's your child. If their behavior is nasty towards you, if their behavior takes your peace away, sometimes you just have to bounce. And like I say, that's kind of a luxury I have in my life. I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have brothers and sisters, so I don't have to have those little confrontations so much. But I still will stick by what I'm saying there is nobody should be a doormat. Nobody should just be a punching bag that just constantly puts another person ahead of their happiness, ahead of their peace. I don't know if it's selfish or not. On the one hand, it seems to be about it's about yourself. You do tend to kind of label it as selfish, but I don't think one should put anybody in their life above their peace when it comes to there's circumstances. There might be something in somebody's life that touches yours that interferes with your peace that they can't control. I'm not saying when things get difficult, abandon a person, but when somebody is over and over and over and over, just like a nasty person to you, or just somebody that upsets your peace of mind, who says you can't cut them out? Now, when we get into a professional setting, or when it's like a boss or a work situation, that's a little bit different, because office politics come into play, or you're just at work. It's not even necessarily politics. And in that arena, you do have to kind of figure out a way to just coexist with people. But once again, don't engage. Don't try to get that last word. Don't let your ego push you into, and hey, it happens to me even online. Like I say, I'm not around a lot of people, but even online, sometimes on social media, somebody will say something smart, or I've made a comment or something somewhere, and somebody comes and blah, blah, blah. And you want to swoop in and just smack them and like let them know how you're right. But it's more aggravation for you. It's not that, in that case, you're not doing that because you're standing up for yourself, because you're online. But in general, like in a workplace, online, whatever, just don't engage, don't argue with these people, because like I say, after a while, and I've seen it a number of times online, is if you, like, somebody will come at you, you don't respond. Somebody will come at you, you don't respond. Somebody will come at you, you don't respond. 3, 4, 5 times, they kind of start getting the message, and they're gone. Now, on the other hand, and this can translate to real life too, you keep poking back. They come at you, and even though you might feel justified, you say blah, blah, blah. They're going to come again, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because they're being reinforced. Each time they do something, they get a rise out of you. And for a lot of people, that's enough right there. They're not necessarily trying so hard to prove themselves right. There's people out there that just like to poke and get a rise out of you and see if they can pull you out of your calm, peaceful place. So just don't let them. Just don't let them. Always put your peace number one. Always put your peace of mind number one. Just, and I don't think that's selfish, because that, how do we go through life? How are we good to anybody else? How are we a benefit to society? if we're a wreck ourselves. So stand up for yourself, be firm, but you don't have to be nasty, and you don't have to get down in the mud with people. Now, granted, I'm not going to, like I say, I'm not going to try to sit here like a saint. There are times where you're going to get down in the mud with people, and yeah, that's just how it goes. But most of the time, you can just like, you know, you don't have to get to that place. So anyhow, just kind of some scattered thoughts today. Maybe some of them will help you, or maybe I'm just rambling to myself. Anyhow, good to connect with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And we'll see you here again on Friday, probably. Peace.